Hello and welcome to another episode of Breaking Kayfabe. You can call me Saucy and I'll call you my friend. And together we're going to talk to another one of our new friends here. You know them as the handler of Harvey Marx and the owner of Big Ticket Entertainment. He is. Do you go by Harvey or what do we want to call you today?
Harvey will work just fine.
Harvey, well, thanks for coming by. We would love to talk about the projects that you're working on right now. I know you've got your hands involved in a lot of different things, which is something that's unique to your character. But so for the people who are new to Harvey, give us the elevator pitch. Wrap up the character in a couple sentences.
The character is a retired boxer who is now a TV host and fight promoter.
Are you an active competitor in addition to that?
The last time I was a member of an active efed roster was December of 2021.
Okay, so it's been a minute then, huh?
Yeah, I don't do a lot of competitive work because competitive work requires me not having control of the schedule. So it just doesn't work for me.
Amen, brother. I couldn't have said it better myself. Competitive role playing is not for everybody, and one of the things that I'm learning is that I enjoy promoting other people a lot more, and I think you and I have that in common, where having control over the story and the narrative and how you deliver it to the audience, it gives you a sense of satisfaction more than any competitive match I've done, at least. Do you share that same sentiment, or what is it like for you? What got you into fight promotion?
Well, this character essentially provides a stage in my mind, a stage for whoever wants to talk to him and whoever has something going on. I decided to launch this particular character in like July of last year, and right around that time, you started all of your pushing for the original World Series of Wrestling. So
Yeah.
I didn't really have a platform or a model to follow. I just gravitated to a big event that you happened to be running and just started quote tweeting about all the golden ticket recipients and really built what I do based on that. Trying to draw attention to different projects and different people doing good things in e-fetting. Not quite like a Denzel Porter because he doesn't have an active roleplay character in the hunt. But certainly he provided a lot of a blueprint for what I do and a lot of space and a lot of push I got early on. Thanks goes to him for that.
Yeah, funny story about that, if I may pull back the curtain a little bit here. When you first reached out to me and started retweeting the World Series of Wrestling stuff last year, this was back when nobody was looking at it. You were retweeting it, and I assumed that you were just messing with me, right? Like I thought that you were kind of trolling me a little bit because you know how people are on Twitter. They'll if you are one to bring forth a new idea, a lot of times you get ridiculed. So I thought you were just taking a piss, right? So I reached out to you. I said, "Hey, I can't tell if you're being serious or not." And you said, "No. I totally want to, co-promote this event with you, if that's okay." And I said, "Hell yeah, that's okay. That's fantastic." And I was shocked because not many people are willing to do that. And you've been a great supporter along the way, so I want to thank you very much for that. And I think we should make sure that we thank all the other voices out there that are willing to promote events that they may not be participating in as well. So you talked about Denzel Porter, who's been inspirational to a lot of people, but you're starting to see some of these other ones pop up as well, like the efed Watcher. That's the robot, the ticket robot. OOC trials. You've got the Splat Network. You had the efed podcast, Chris Page and what he's been doing. So there are a lot of promoters out there who are trying to get the word out about a lot of people, and it's been great. So Harvey, I want to thank you for that, but I also want to give you your flowers and give you some spotlight. So tell us, what are you working on right now?
Right now, I'm kind of in an unusual position because I told you that I hadn't put anything on a board since December of 2021, and in the background, I happen to be working on a solo piece right now that should be ready in about 2 weeks to drop with Cult.
Cult. That's Combat Unlimited Lethal Trials.
Yes.
That's I'm a big fan of what they do over there. It's a once a month fed. Check them out if you're on Twitter. It's CULT, and they are an extreme hardcore style federation. Not everybody's cup of tea, but they've got some great folks over there, lots of talented people, and they deserve a lot of credit for keeping things going the way that they have. So it's been very good. I can't wait to see what solo piece you're working on over there. But I certainly would understand any fed that wants to get you involved. I remember with the WGWF, they wanted to bring Harvey in as the ring announcer, and that seems like a perfect position. If somebody's having a super show, I would reach out to Harvey and say, "You're the guy. We want you involved." Do you have any interest in doing that sort of collaboration with folks right now?
Well, Harvey is still appearing with WGWF as the ring announcer with my permission and, more importantly, my gratitude. So, role-playing a ring announcer is difficult to do if you don't work for anybody. So, sure. Thanks to WGWF for making that happen.
Well, I think that if I were running a super show, you want to bring in as many big names as possible, there are many roles to fill on that show. And of course, everybody wants to be talent. They want to be the main event on the show, but not a whole lot of people want to do commentary or want to do ring announcing. And your name is the first that comes to mind when it comes to that. You do such a great job of just being a voice for the people. So I hope that people do consider you first when thinking about putting together a project. So a little birdie has told me that you have been involved behind the scenes in a major project recently, and I don't know how much you can share, but I'll go ahead and open this can of worms anyway. But Come to Arcadia. Can you tell us anything about that project?
What I can tell you about the project is that it's ongoing, and it's been wonderful to engage with that handler along their process as sort of the guest contributor. I can tell you truthfully that I know absolutely nothing about the identity or background of that handler.
So you're in the dark like the rest of us concerning that event, huh?
I stay that way because I do not want to fall victim to enterprising content creators such as yourself who would seek to back me into a corner. I'm working with the handler in different ways, but as far as any information about their identity or what else they're doing, I don't know any of that information. Okay.
So originally, you've done this interview so far, correct?
Yes.
I assume, are they going to continue to keep you involved with the project, or was that a one-shot?
There are conversations going on about that, and with the difference in time zone between myself and the handler, who deserves all the credit for the Arcadia project, I'm just like riding along and banging the drum behind him.
Gotcha.
So he's doing his thing and deserves a ton of credit because to do what they're doing, to tease things and combine such wonderful graphics with the tweets, it takes a lot more time than what it looks like once it's out there on the timeline. So they deserve a ton of credit for engaging the community in a different way and giving whoever wants to engage with the particular project freedom to do so.
Gotcha. So let me ask you this: if you could have things work out any way you wanted, what do the next 6 months look like for Harvey Marx?
The next 6 months for Harvey Marx, it looks like, well, in about 3 weeks, my piece for Cult should be dropping.
Okay.
Which is sort of a collaboration with two handlers who are active there, because I will be beginning my story in the middle of one of theirs. So I'm going to I came up with this idea to sort of comment on an ongoing story and tell my story through witnessing all those events. And this is more of a proof of concept, but if this works out and people like it, I'll do it again. So I'll be floating around on the outside of an active story in the Fed right now and sort of commenting on that, and also moving my own story forward within that universe. So it's sort of a party crasher piece, and any inconsistencies are mine and are no fault of the two handlers who are graciously allowing me to peep in on their ongoing storyline over there.
Now, I know that you're intentionally trying to be vague and you don't want to give away too much, which I can appreciate, right? It's hard to it's hard to not just spill the beans, right? When you know something that's going on behind the scenes, like there's an urge to share it with people. And I know that you can't tell us everything. So can you tell us how you got involved with Cult? How did that happen? Because just from the outside looking in, it doesn't seem like a natural fit for the character. So can you walk us through that?
It is more of a natural fit for the character than you might think.
Really?
Harvey Marx there's a performative aspect of the character. You made the comment to me when I asked for feedback as far as the judging for the World Series of Wrestling, that he seems like a cartoon character. He doesn't seem like a real person.
Yeah.
What is being presented is a person who is acting. Harvey Marx is a character. And the person behind Harvey Marx is who my story is ultimately about. So he's not quite what he seems, and Cult is a natural place in my mind to sort of explore what's going on behind him and what's going on at Big Ticket Studios in Chicago. So I don't get into super dark and violent role plays, but dark and violent places are more compatible with where I wanted the story to go in the first place.
That was going to be my question: is are we going to get the dark secret behind the evolution and the genesis of that character? And it sounds like the answer is yes, but you got to go to Cult if you want to find out. And
the answer is going to be yes, and I'm not going to tease people for months. I'm just going to give it to you.
Gotcha.
So that it'll be revealed in that first piece, and I will be able, from that point on, to write these characters as they were intended to be written.
So if I can give you some advice on that, is to just enjoy telling your story. Because as someone who promotes other people, you don't get many opportunities to actually tell your story. And I just hope that people appreciate it. I have a feeling that you're really going to, put yourself out there and make yourself vulnerable in these pieces. And hopefully people do enjoy it. It's, I can tell you from my side of the story to people really love it when you promote their content. They're not super crazy when you promote yourself. Um, so I hope that they do give you a fair shake here and that people buy into it and that you get over. And let me know if you need some help with that, and I'll give you some retweets and whatever kind of promotion we can give you. Because damn it, you're one of our own here, and we want to push it to the limit if we can.
Thank you. Finding a way to do both is really what I try to do. Harvey is the host of whatever show or whatever event he's promoting. The event itself, for example, I do a lot of work right now with Dead City Wrestling, which might be more recognizable for the Necropolis setting that they work in.
Yes.
So my goal is to promote their cards and put them over. But while I'm putting people over, because he's a character who's also a promoter, I'm doing character work at the same time. If you were to bring the Sauce Boss to life, where this entitled guy who is the heir to the Mott's Applesauce fortune was also promoting people, you would get something closer to what I do. So it's difficult to get people to understand that when I put you over, I will also use those events as part of my character's ongoing history. So I've found a way to kind of try to do a little character work for myself while I help out all these other people. And as far as I know, it's working pretty well.
I mean, you certainly have a good reputation in the game right now, and that comes along with, when you do a solid for somebody else, they tend to remember that. Not all people will return the favor, but most people will, right? And I think that'll be your experience. You've done a year's worth of work now, just helping push other people. So now it sounds like it's your time, to get a little shine. So I don't know what the end goal is here for you, just to tell your story or to pick up a belt or what exactly your end goal is here, but I'm all for it. And I hope you get what you want.
I'm not a real big belt guy because belts sort of dictate the story that you're supposed to tell, right?
That's right. Yep.
When you're a champion, you have to start thinking and talking like one. And when you're thinking and talking like a champion within the universe of a particular Fed, that sort of tells you where you go and what your path is. And there are plenty of competitive people who do this, who like to be in that role and want to be a champion and walk and talk like one as much as possible. But for me, to put a belt on a big man would take the spotlight off some of the support characters and the behind-the-scenes stuff that I do eventually want to start writing again.
Yeah, that is such a mature and smart way to look at the game. And I don't know how you came to that conclusion. If you've been competitive in the past and it just wasn't for you, or if you've lived vicariously through other people, but you're absolutely right, and I think that you've found the secret recipe to really enjoying yourself in this game.
During my first run as Harvey Marx, who the original character was a magician. So during that original run of Action Wrestling, I got a title shot at their biggest pay-per-view of the year, one of their mid-card belts, and that roleplay was a 3,000 word RP, and 42% of my word count was literally a magic show.
Okay.
So I spent months going behind the scenes and going to Harvey's workshop and talking about all the tricks and getting it right and inventing crazy things to make the show work. And then I got my title shot at the big show, and I thought to myself, okay, do I need to step up? Do I need to do the efed thing? Do we need to start doing the shoot? Do we need to reach for this belt? or do we need to finish this story that I've been setting up? And the conclusion that I came to was the whole angle was I got brought in months ago by contract with the Fed to do a magic show. And it was just like, damn it, if I don't do a magic show, then this RP is going to fail. So 42% of my word count was actually a magic show.
Sure.
The biggest opportunity I ever received, I still used the stage, but I used it the way that I wanted to.
So what was the end result? Were you happy with how it turned out?
The judges gave me good feedback on it. They told me, a couple of the judges talked to me privately. They told me the story was top notch, a little weak on the shoot, but when you spend the majority of your role play literally doing an escape artist trick, you're not going to be doing a lot of hardcore locker room promos.
Yeah.
So it was well received, and I'm glad that I was able to do it that way. And it was that experience that sort of got me more comfortable with, okay, so maybe I don't do your traditional efed type writing. I'm going to get crucified head to head with the Corey Blacks and the J-Mons of the world. And that's all right with me, as long as I think what I'm doing is all right and it's moving the character in a positive direction.
So let me ask you this. What have you not done yet in this game that you would like to do?
What have I not done that I would like to do? There's a couple of there are a couple of guest matches. You will see me in a match in the future. I don't know exactly when, but there are a couple of handlers that I've talked to about that. So you will see me in a couple of matches. So the only thing that I want to do that I haven't done is to occasionally dip my toe back into the competitive thing on a very limited basis.
And would you use the same character, or would you experiment with a new character?
I would use this one, and part of what I'm doing with the cult stuff is reintroducing a character and getting him competition ready when I'm prepared to do that.
Okay, so if you go competitive again, and you said you have a couple matches lined up, who would you like to work with that maybe you haven't worked with before?
I will say publicly on your podcast, because this just seems like something he wouldn't have a problem with. You are going to see me in a tag match with Jay Mont in the future.
Oh, cool.
So I'm not sure when that's going to be, but we've decided that would just be too good to pass up. So as far as doing things that I haven't done in the game, that's just, I like to find new and innovative ways to do the promotional thing. My goals are not competitive for the most part.
Okay, so it sounds like you're very open-minded towards the future, and as inspiration strikes, you seem like a person who will just buy into a new idea, which is great, right? Because we need as many people like that as you can get. So why don't you take some time and talk about some of the handlers that you've really enjoyed working with? Go ahead and hand out some flowers to these folks.
Yeah, there's a lot of flowers to be handed out, especially with somebody like me in the situation that I'm in, temperament-wise, and with the disability issues. I can't write Harvey Marx completely independently as much as I would have liked to, so collaboration is natural and normal for me.
Okay.
So I found... I sought out my own opportunity with the Arcadia handler, for example, and we did a kick-ass interview I was involved in, and the writing and editing was divided between the two of us. So I've done a lot of collaboration in the past because that's just the nature of what the character does. So almost every project I've done since the inception of this sexy southpaw character hasn't been done without the direct assistance or involvement of another handler. So I'll just start with Reagan Voorhees, who was nice enough to launch this character by granting him an interview with Atticus, the superstar pig who is just the greatest thing in the world and the most wholesome figure in efeding. And I did an interview last year where I was able to talk to him directly, and Harvey and the pig are now really tight. So working with Reagan was interesting.
How does one interview a pig? How does that happen?
Um, I chose not to explain why Harvey Marx can understand a pig. Um, if you don't understand it, then I guess you're not in the club and I can't help you. um, that was the unique approach that we chose to take. The handler would present a picture of Atticus, an adorable picture of a pig, as a response to a question that Harvey put forward. What I did in that interview was translate paragraphs that their handler wrote back into Harvey's voice as if I was translating for Atticus, who I could hear and understand without any assistance.
Sure.
So
makes sense.
It was a very collaborative project, although all of the talking was done in Harvey's voice. Any of the interaction with Atticus was done via a process of translation, taking that handler's words and putting them back into the big ticket's voice to make the interview happen.
Sure. So
who
awesome. Else do we have? Of course, I love Regan and I love Atticus. They've been guests on the show. Great handler, great character, very good writer. Who else do we have?
I have done a lot in the past with Johnny Bacchus and Lucy Hope. Those are the two that I am working with very closely at this point to do the cult piece. So I've worked with those two ever since I debuted in action wrestling almost 2 years ago now. They're both awesome. So we're about to see a little bit of content from me where I benefit from the wonderful chemistry between those two people, and I'll be showcasing the story that they have ongoing.
I'll be sure to tell Lissy that. I've got an interview with her coming up tomorrow, so be sure to tune into that. If you haven't done so already, now's probably a good time to tell you, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel and give the Big Ticket a follow on Twitter as well. That's at Sexy Southpaw on Twitter. Can you tell us how you came up with that handle, Sexy Southpaw? Because when I think of sexy, I don't know that Harvey Marx is the image that comes to mind. So walk us through that.
Well, that's entirely the point. He basically speaks like the Kool-Aid Man, and he's 450 pounds, so he's a promoter, and he's overconfident and over the top, and he is by far television's sexiest super heavyweight.
So he's just charismatic. That's the charm. That's the appeal of the character. I love that. So I'm gonna have that Kool-Aid Man voice in my head from now on whenever I read your pieces. That's perfect.
Yes, the way I explain Harvey Marx to people who want to help me write him or are just being introduced to the character, think of a large bear who might be a mobster who is also trying to sell you an amazing self-cleaning toaster oven. And you get the Big Ticket.
I got it. I've got it locked in. There's I I've got it. If you've seen the new Puss in Boots movie, there's a family of three bears. Or if you've seen Zootopia, there's a bear mafia. So I think I got it. I think I got the concept
Yes.
here. All right, Harvey, we're running up against the clock here, so I want to give you a couple more minutes here. Is there anything else on your plate that you'd like to talk about before we call it a wrap today?
You can look out for a lead up program that I have to do for Necropolis's next upcoming pay per view. That's been pushed back a few days on his end, but I will be working with the second pay per view. And actually, I'm going to go to hell on this one. I'm going to do the
Like
I'm going to do
literally.
the actual lead up program in whatever version of hell I'm going to create to take you through the card and highlight the matches.
Well, I hope it works out for Harvey. Bring him back in one piece. He's too lovable to, he's an escape artist though, right? So he'll find his way out.
Yeah, the original one was an escape artist, yes.
Oh,
The,
this is a different version of the same character.
this character was originally developed for an alternate universe project.
Aha.
So all of the characters around him, Frank, Leonora, Boris, they have equivalents with the babyface magician.
Gotcha. So it's a reimagining of an existing character. That's a pretty
Yeah.
cool idea, actually.
Yeah. It was part of an alternate universe project, and I've actually taken it upon myself to continue to be the torchbearer of that particular Fed. And I will not drop the Black Pyramid universe origin story because it's too important and too many awesome people put time into building the mythology of that Fed. So this Harvey Marx is a visitor from dystopian universe in which he is television's sexiest super heavyweight.
Well, people may disagree about Harvey being the sexiest super heavyweight on the market, but what they can't disagree with is that you have a willingness to go outside the box, try new things, and work with a lot of great people. So, Harvey, you're a real one. I wish we had more people like you in the hobby because, you're just a very positive person, and I want to thank you for that. And I want to thank you for coming on the show today.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. I mean, they're definitely out there. We just have to work to give them a platform and show people that it's possible to engage this hobby in other ways besides the traditional way. If the traditional way is not for you, the community is still very supportive. So I'm just glad that people have given me a place that I can continue to work.
Absolutely. Well, hey, Harvey, thanks for coming out. And for those of you who are listening to the show, thank you for being a friend. We'll continue making content if you continue coming by. So keep checking back here. I think we've got new videos a few days a week. So every other day of the week, we've got more of this breaking kayfabe content coming up. So until the next video, everybody love everybody and keep partying on, and we will see you all down the road.